You know, this movie looked like crap from the very beginning. What's the point of rebooting Star Trek? Like, most anyone who's younger than, I don't know, 35, thinks that Star Trek is hopelessly lame thanks to pop culture references and the connotation that comes along with liking it. So this movie's only going to interest adults who liked Star Trek back when it was popular. But wait, this is not your father's Star Trek? It's not like saying that is going to change any kid's reservations about the franchise, but it might make a man think that they bastardized this series to cater to teenagers. What were they thinking with this advertisement campaign? You know, the advertisements for this movie really don't do justice to how great this film is. This is a perfect example of how bad ads don't equal a bad movie. The movie is brilliant in how it continues the franchise, and here's how. What filmmakers have done is created an alternate timeline which makes this movie a sequel rather than a prequel. It's so clever because in that alternate timeline, anything can happen. Any character can die at any moment. The movie also isn't the soulless special effects show, nor the bastardization that the trailers make it out to be. The special effects always serve the story, and they never go over the top. There is a lot of fan service in this movie. Like, to give you an idea of how much there is, I'll say this. I've only seen 4 episodes of the original Star Trek, and I caught at least 20 of the references to the original series. Now, that's alright though, because it's subtle to the point that if you never were a fan, you won't even notice it. But if you are a fan, it will finesse a smile. To give you an idea of the subtlety, let me tell this story. After the movie, I was talking with one of my fellow viewers about how much peril is in this movie. And I mentioned a scene where the characters are diving through space in these different colored suits, and one guy pulls his parachute too late and gets incinerated. Now, that's when it hit me. He was wearing the red suit. Now, I'm more than familiar with that reference, but I completely missed that. And that is how well they do the fan service in this movie. Oh, and the casting in this movie? Flawless. Everyone looks and acts like the characters they portray. Not just saying their famous catchphrases and whatnot, but really being the characters. And the villain is a special highlight. He's great. Villains really stopped being menacing for me for a while. The last great one I can recall is Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. I know, the Joker and whatever, but he's really way too funny to be menacing for me. Now, this guy in Star Trek is what we're talking about, is so good because you can kind of see where he's coming from and why he does what he does, but he's so ruthless and evil that you just hate him. And his character's visual design is very by the numbers, though, so he'll probably be forgotten, but he's still a great villain. Hey, call me a racist, but all Romulans look alike. This is the best reboot of a franchise since Batman Begins. So you SOBs get out to the theater and make this a success so I can have my Star Trek equivalent of Dark Knight.